And g'day there, my name is Ozzy Stern, a country Victorian gamer of Star Wars Armada, Star Wars Legion and many others. Today I'm starting a new project on doing some Star Wars Commandos and also a custom model for a Commander Rex. Both sets of models are from Garfies Game on eBay and is quite good models. They have come up quite nicely. The human commander has a nice flowing coat. He is got his leg up, so I had to put some rubble underneath. The Rex looks really great as a forest. This model is a model of a Bothan. So for those in the Star Wars universe that know, it's a lion type or a feline lion type model. A generic human spotter, which is not bad. He's got the electro binoculars. I've also got a few other humans here, just in a general pose. And all of these models have come up quite nicely. I haven't had too much of an issue with it. I do plan on trying to group these into painting groups. This is the sniper. I'm not sure what alien race it is from the Star Wars universe. I may have to make a judgment call in terms of what it looks like. And of course the Duros with the proton bombs. All up, they're pretty good. I'm going to do a test model and then I'm going to do all the humans together. Maybe I might do Rex individually. And then I will do a custom video of the other three, the Duros, the Bothan and the alien together. This time I've just gone with an undercoat of basic white, and primarily because the colours, I just don't know how it's going to go. I'm going to do a test model now and I'll see how I go. I've got a number of colours that I'm thinking of using. I'm using a black, some dark grey, some white, two variants of a dark brown. One's called charcoal brown, while the other one is called smoky ink. I've got some other colours there for flesh, gunmetal, some of the other bits and some contrasting colours. But I'll see how we go as I progress through the actual temp. I'm also going to do the Duros in this warp block green and also use a combination of the oak brown, monster brown, leather brown for the Duros. The Bothan, I should say. Not sure about the coloration for this one yet, but might be purple or something or other. But meanwhile, I will go and start painting this demonstration to see if I get the colours right. Here we are. I've just finished with my first model. It's come out pretty well. I did make some changes to the colours of what I was going to use. I'm using a different colour grey for the cloak, and I've put a smoky ink wash on it to just give the commandos, just zoom in so you can see it. So all the humans and the aliens are going to have a uniform based upon this. Obviously their skin colours and some of their personalities may be a little bit different, but essentially I've used a bit of paper, you can see there underneath my paint, just to give me a visual guide as to what colours are going to be used for. The black I'm going to use for the boots. I'm going to use this cold grey for the actual pants, and off-white for shirt and also the sleeve. I'm also going to use this lighter grey for the actual coat or all-weather robe that some of them are wearing. And as you can see, there's 3 different colour greys there. I felt that the cold grey was good, but the uniform grey was a lot darker. I didn't want to go with that one. Again, charcoal brown to use for the belts and also for the helmets. I'm going to use the sticky smoky ink for some of the belt pouches, as well as for some of the wrappings around the gun and belt area. Flesh, obviously flesh. But either way, I'm going to start speeding up the process now. So now we're just going to start off with the bottom of the model using the Abaddon Black, just to do around the boots. I find working from the bottom of the model working up helps to, I guess, create clean lines in it. You'll see me jumping around a little bit from different perspectives of the model because the paint can be a little bit more forgiving if I use one set of paint, then go on to the next, or alternatively go to a different area to let it dry. Again, using this cold grey, I want to draw it out from the top area and bring it down, making it as thin as possible. That will help me to do any highlights that I need to do, and also will give the actual model the ability, you'll be able to see the ripples, pockets, etc. underneath once it's been washed as well. So after the pants has been done, I'm going to continue to use this cold grey colour on any of the other surfaces that I decide to use with the same colour. I've decided to do the electro binoculars in this cold grey, as well as the ear flaps around the helmet underneath the metal area. So rather than putting fresh paint on when it gets to doing the head, it's a lot easier while there's excess paint in the palette to do that. I'm also going to do the face and hands with the flat flesh colour, simply because I don't want to put too many colours in that same area, whereby if I try and do any delicate work with the flesh later on, it will smear into the likes of the coat or the pants, any of the areas around it. So I much prefer to try and do the face first and the hands first, and then work on some of the more delicate areas in that area, namely the helmet rim or the fringe and the ear flaps for the model at the same time with this cold grey. So using a thin brush, very lightly, just doing the top of the head of the helmet area, the rim of the helmet, the ear flaps, leaving it to dry. Then I'm going to use this cold grey as a starting point for his cloak. Again, working my way from a center point and just reaching around with the model to do all of the area. I'm going to leave the sleeves exposed because I'll be doing that in a white and off-white in a few minutes. But I want to get this nice light grey, wolf grey onto the rest of the cloak. After doing the cloak, we're just going to just do some of the more intricate areas. So we want to do, the next one will be doing the charcoal brown, and I'll thin it out with a little bit of water. Just go around the helmet and also over that top area in this colour. It gives it a nice metallic sheen if I just water it out a little bit, and you can actually see all the raised areas in the helmet, or the recesses as well if I lighten it out. Now I'm going to use some of that smoky ink to do along the belts and the bandolier. I'll also do the pouches in the same colour. And it's interesting that one of the things that these models have is it looks like they have like a pad or some sort of tablet on this model on the far side, as well as the commander looks like he's got something on his wrist that might be a more sophisticated comlink system. So I'm going to paint the pad over with this darker colour first, then apply some metal around the edge, or bolt gun metal around the edge, and finish it off with a little bit of null oil on the screen itself. Now I'm going to do the off-white on the sleeves, making sure that all the areas of the sleeve are covered, but not so much that it is over covering into the likes of the vest or the coat, etc. I'm now going to use another different brown colour, this oak brown, for the backpack. Sometimes with the backpack I'll do different colours. So one will be this oak brown, others will be a monster brown, some will be a grey colour. Primarily because backpacks generally don't need to be the same colour, I find. It's more so the case that the uniform remains the same throughout, while the accessories can be slightly different. I also want to achieve a nice, good spread of colour on it, bold colour, nothing that will give it a wishy-washy look. Leaving the exposed metal areas, because I'll do that in the bolt gun colour shortly. Also ensuring that the likes of the straps for the coat are done, for the backpack is done in the same colour of this oak. Now we go back to this smoky ink, or this charcoal brown, to just do the wraps around the gun. Just do it ever so lightly so that we can actually see the contours underneath it, seeing they are straps. And both of them are quite nice colours, as they almost have like a wash or a thin inky feel to them. Unlike a solid pigmentation, it's very light, and even so I do lighten it ever so slightly by adding a bit of water into the palette as well, or using a wet brush. Now we're starting on the bolt gun metal on some of the mechanical or electronic sections on the uniform, on the pad as well, on the backpack, and also the gun itself. This time around, each of the unit guns are going to be done in this bolt gun metal, with then doing a null wash to slightly darken it, and seeing it's got the wraps on it to give it a noted difference from the other guns that I have done for the science, my Star Wars Legion forces that I've done previously in the Warp Lock Bronze. So just running it around the edges, doing the belt buckle, the grenades. Not sure what grenades they have, but making sure it's metallic. Do a little bit on the electro binoculars where it has that antenna feel on it. Just looking at it from each angle, making sure that it's nicely fully covered. So after a little bit of letting the model dry and finishing off the actual model, we come up to the last couple of steps. I'm using this charcoal brown to put in a patching pattern on the wolf grey cloak to give it by some camouflage look to it. All that I'm doing is just pouring a little bit of this charcoal earth onto my palette, dipping the brush ever so lightly and making like C marks or L marks all the way through it, totally random on the cloak to give it the likes of the way that it is sort of moving around. I'm also putting a little bit of a wash on some of the hand area with flesh wash just to colour it in. Because the face is so close to the electro binoculars, I won't be able to do eyeballs, etc., like I would normally do with most of my models. Instead, it's just going to be very much heavily shaded with that flesh wash area. With the hands, I want to get the individual fingers shaded so it doesn't look like a clump. It looks more better with the slight shading that the flesh wash helps with. And then I'll go across and start working on doing a little bit more on those hidden areas around the hands, sort of thing, just ever so lightly going across it, making sure it's all working fine. The final part of the painting process is of course going to be the base. Now I've already painted the base in a sand colour, Talaran sand. Now I'm just going to run my mix of Memphis red and terracotta red around the edge, so lightly, to finish off the main painting part of the model. Obviously, the next step that I need to do is to wait for it to dry and then taking it out to my painting shed to put a layer of varnish on it. But I might leave that for a couple of days as we're about to hit a bit of a heat wave, and it's not the best thing to do during a high temperature day painting, as I do find that the paint usually gets a little bit cloudy or misty. So I'm just going to leave that. There is my test model. And as you can see, I also need to varnish that one. My other two humans that I'm going to paint up, the commander and another generic trooper, I'll do shortly. Here is the finished humans for my Star Wars Legion Commandos. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I shall be doing a second video in the next couple of days. Please like, please subscribe, and hopefully leave a comment if you have any comments, if you want any more information. But for now, from me, Aussie Stern, wishing you happy gaming, and I'll see you on the table. Bye for now.